Welcome back. We are wrapping up this arc of Mushoku Tensei. Links in the description and all that jazz. So Eris's birthday party is over and we are hitting a time skip. Another 2 years pass by after the party. Huh, it's grown in already. It's pubic hair. At least I'm pretty sure it is. I did look it up and apparently the average age for boys to start growing hair is 12, but it can start as early as 9. Rudy is almost 10 here, so it's not completely out of the ordinary, but later on in the light novel, he says that he hasn't hit puberty yet, so I don't know. Also, my search history has been fucked for a while because I have morbid curiosity and I can't stop myself from looking up stuff that I hear about on the internet. And Mushoku Tensei is not helping with that. I didn't like studying English in my old life, but figuring out new languages is surprisingly fun. I don't think I've said this yet, but I am really jealous of this. I have been trying to learn Japanese for far too long. And my old ass brain does not want to learn new languages, I guess. Eris reached advanced rank in Sword God style in no time. I can feel the gap in our talent. Rudy looks up at the orb in the sky. I think it's bigger than before. Really, what is that thing? It's not that surprising that Eris is starting to outpace him. Rudy doesn't have talent when it comes to the sword, and Eris does. That's just how it be. And we'll get more information on the orb later on, but first we have another important event that needs to come first. It's been 2 years since Eris had her 10th birthday, and now it is time for Rudy's. Eris wants to throw him a party, but they can't really throw him a big party because he's a gray rat. And I've already talked about all the political stuff that's related to that. We do learn a little bit more about the gray rats. There are 4 main families signified by their middle name. So Philip's brother James is in charge of the Boreas subgroup of the family. And I thought it was Soros, but apparently not. Paul is in the Notos group, and his brother is in charge there, which means that Rudy is actually Rudius Notos Greyrat. But I don't think he's ever actually gone by that name, not that I can remember. And technically he might not be because Paul was disowned, but they're still treating Rudy as if he is a part of the family power dynamics, which does mean that a Boreas can't throw a big party for a Notos because of politics. Eris is putting in a lot of work for this party, even if it's not going to be as big as hers. So Rudy at least wants to act surprised and excited whenever it happens. Everyone seems busy. I guess so. Still, you learned 3 languages in 2 years. You never cease to surprise me. I figured out Beast God thanks to you, Ghislaine. Studying is hungry work, huh? Let's go grab a snack. Ghislaine jumps up and stands in front of the door. Wait a minute, Rudius. Can we talk a little more? Uh-huh. Today's the day, isn't it? In the light novel, she tries to get him to show her some saint-level magic. Rudius says that he could drown the entire town if he tried hard enough, so it would probably be better for them to go outside and go far away. She's just trying to get him not to leave, so she convinces him to show her another day. And Rudius is just fucking with her because he knows what's happening right now. But it does explain or give another reason why they end up going later. Alright, this is the perfect opportunity. I have something to show you. Rudy holds up one of his figurines. Is this me? It's pretty well made. It's missing my tail. I don't quite know how it works. Would you mind showing me the base of your tail? We all know what he's doing here. What, is that all? That's easy. Zero hesitation. May I touch it? Of course. Huh, it's hard. Hang on, is this really a butt? I always wanted muscles like this. Excuse me, Master Rudius. Dinner is... The anime makes it seem like her ass is a fucking brick or something. The light novel describes it as hard as steel, but with a certain softness to it. The perfect level of muscle. Also, they aren't caught in the act in the light novel. She has her pants up by the time the maid comes in. So the anime is funnier. Happy 10th birthday! Rudius, happy birthday. Oh yeah, I'm 10 years old today. Rudy covers his eyes. Sorry, it's just that for the first time since I got here, I worried that I might not be welcome. I never thought you'd throw a party for me. Two arms! It's war with the Nodos. I'll murder Premon and put Rudius in charge. Just in case you missed it, Piremon is Paul's brother and the current head of the Nodos Greyrat family. I think the anime uses the F sound, so Philemon. I don't know which one is the correct one. Use whichever one you want. I don't think it really matters. Saros is dragged out of the hall so he can cool off. Was my acting too good? Forget about grandfather. I've got a surprise for you today. Take a guess. Are father and the others coming? Well, we did invite your family, but monsters have been acting up, so Paul has to stay. And Zenith said that both the young ones got sick, so she can't leave. I see. That's a shame. Rudius, you're one of our children now. Huh? I thought she hated me. I'll adopt you. No, marry Eris. Mother, Rudius is only 10. Age has nothing to do with it. One thing to keep in mind here is that they are all nobles, so it's very possible that their view on age is just fucked. But Eris disagrees with her mother here, so maybe it's just older nobles? I don't know. I only point it out because I think we'll see more of this mindset when we get the nobles from the capital. Hilda is dragged out of the hall so she can cool off. The anime has servants drag both of them out, but in the light novel, Philip handles both Soros and Hilda. So what is it? The surprise, I mean. Alphonse, give it to him. A staff? For your sake, Master Rudius, we gathered the finest materials from around the world, and had this fashioned by the Azura Kingdom's foremost staff maker. Its name is Aqua Hartia. Rudy has a little bit of experience with making wands since he made two of them a couple of years ago, so he knows how expensive they can be. He's guessing that the crystal alone is well over 100 gold. This staff is fucking powerful. It can boost magic, and it's different for each school of magic. So water is the best, and it can make water spells 5 times stronger. I don't think his rank is affected by his staff. Like, if he's able to cast saint level magic now with less mana because of his staff, does that make him king rank? I don't know. I'm gonna say no until I see differently. You're a great mage, so it's weird that you don't have a staff. Thank you very much. Now, let the party begin. Apparently Eris made some food for the party, and it was not good. But the rest of the food was fine. The party winds down. Rudy and Philip end up being the only ones left as the maids clean. Eris has 2 brothers, one older and one younger. My brother in the capital took them right after birth. I lost a succession dispute. All men of Boreas blood are raised in the household of the head of the family. That's our tradition. But Hilda couldn't come to terms with that. That's only natural. Her children were taken from her. And she hated you. Her own sons couldn't be here, so why is someone else's walking around like he owns the place? We finally get the reason why Hilda has been so cold to Rudy, but she hasn't been a big part of the story, so there really wasn't that much of an impact. I imagine this was a way to explain the Greyrat family dynamic more than anything. This secession dispute is more of a political battle. I'm not completely sure how it works, but it seems to be that whoever has the most political influence gets to be in charge. Soros has 10 kids, and of those, only 3 of them were actually in the fight. James, Philip, and Gordon. And through some secret manipulation, Gordon ended up marrying into the Yoros Greyrat family, so he's out. James, being older than Philip, had a bit of a head start, and Philip just couldn't catch up. So James ended up winning, and then he sent Philip to rule over Roa, which is far away from the capital, which meant that his political power couldn't grow anymore. Meanwhile, James stayed in the capital so that he could continue to keep moving up. Their tradition is that the head of the family adopts all of the boys. So in this case, James would adopt all of his nephews. And I think it's just nephews. I don't think it's further down the line, but I'm not completely sure. This was put in place a while back so that there's no more political disputes after the matter has been settled. They let the fight happen, but they don't want to weaken the family. So this was the solution that they put in place to prevent infighting. Once you lose, you no longer have a son to put in charge once you're gone, so just stop trying. Well, would you really marry Eris and take over the Boreas family? What do you expect from a 10-year-old? You don't need to lift a finger. I'll handle the coup. If you want, I'll leave Eris in your bed tonight, hands tied. Is he serious? Please, I want no part of the power struggles. I'm just going to treat this as idle chit-chat over wine. Is that so? What a shame. Rudy still wants to take it easy in this life. Or, at the very least, not get killed because of some political bullshit. And he recognizes that Philip is basically just trying to use him. In the light novel, Philip says, "Your acting is good enough to deceive even Hilda and my father." Philip is actually pretty perceptive, and I think he would have been a pretty scary politician if his brother wasn't standing in the way. During this conversation, Philip says that he has zero faith in Eris. She can't even be used as a political pawn. He has her learning swordsmanship so that she can get out of his house. Rudy goes back to his room. Welcome home. I'm back. Wait. What's wrong? I thought you went to bed. I thought you'd get lonely, so I decided to sleep here tonight. Did Philip put her up to this? Still, now that I look at her, she's quite... Rudy sits down beside her, leans over and kisses her, then pushes her down on the bed. Letting his lust take over, he starts to reach between her legs. Stop! He immediately pushes himself up. No, I can't. This is exactly what Philip wants. I'm feeling lonely today, so I might try something dirty, you know. Bad bit late on that warning, isn't it? As long as it's just a little. Huh? It's what Philip wants? Who cares? Nothing ventured, nothing gained. I should be happy to accept a little risk. She's trembling. Her hair is silky smooth. Eris trains day in and day out. Her hair is normally messier. He kisses her cheek. I'm going to touch you. He places his hand on her breast and pushes her down again. Is she okay with this? She is, right? I can do it. I'm good to go. His hand goes to her thigh and starts to go up. No! Rudius backs away before getting slapped and kicked in the face. I said just a little, Rudius, you jerk! She kicks him in the nuts and storms out. Rudy is an idiot. Putting the problematic mental age difference aside, Rudy is only thinking about one thing right now. Getting his dick wet. She says no, and he immediately goes back in. That sounded more rapey than what I meant. To be clear, I don't think he's being rapey here. This is something that I think can happen to pretty much anybody. Everybody draws a line, and everybody draws that line in a different place. And sometimes, instead of trying to figure out where the line has been drawn for each person, one asshole will just take their line and apply it to the other person, and why the fuck am I giving a sex ed talk right now? What I was trying to say is that Rudy is thinking with the wrong head right now, and 100% goes too far. But I will give him props for stopping when she says something. Because unfortunately, I don't have that high expectations for a lot of the nobles in this story. So I'm happy that he has met at least that bare minimum. And this scene is both more and less creepy in the light novel. He only tries once before he's knocked to the ground, which is slightly better. I mean, he's not told no and then immediately goes back. He also recognizes that she is probably there because of things said at the party. She is genuinely worried that he is lonely without his family, and she is there to try to comfort him. And he recognizes that in the anime after the fact. In the light novel, he knows this, but he still lets the horny take over, to the point that he forgets that she is a child. His words. And the light novel almost goes out of its way to remind you that he is mentally older. It brings up his past self several times. He even says, I saw an image of him with his face covered in acne and lips set in a disgusting smile, swooping down on Eris. So, yeah, better in a few ways, but a whole lot worse in others. What was I thinking? I completely forgot myself. Did I think I understood the heart of a maiden simply because I played those dating sims? Virgin's gonna virgin, I guess. That's also why I'm trying not to be too hard on Rudy here, besides for the mental age difference. He is a virgin, and I think a lot of the problems that come up here are. Damn it. Why am I trying to give sex ed again? That's from my other channel. I don't have another channel at the moment, and if I did, it would not be about sex. I'll apologize. Rudy gets up and sees Eris still at the door. I'm sorry. This is a special day, so I'll make an exception and forgive you. But it's still too soon for that sort of thing. In another 5 years, you'll be a proper adult. Until then, control yourself. The next morning in the light novel, he wakes up with crusty underwear. He had a wet dream. I guess the light novel decided that was important information for us to know. Now he has a promise that he can get laid in 5 years. When the tutoring job is over. And he can go back to Buena Village. And he's just now remembering Sylphie. Speaking of which, we get a scene of her giving Lilia a gift to send to Rudy. I don't know if this is the next day or if this is several days later or what. I would imagine this is pretty soon after his birthday. We actually get a few different scenes from different people, like Roxy, the dragon god Orsted, the armored dragon Pergius, and the great emperor of the demon world, Kishirika Kishidisu. And I am really hoping I said that name right. It's all in both the anime and the light novel, and most of which is just foreshadowing. They all see that shit's about to go down, so they start heading towards Azura to see what's happening. In the light novel, Roxy, Pergius, and Kishirika all say that it looks like summoning magic. Well, I think it was actually Pergius's assistant, but I'm not 100% sure. Either way, spoilers there, I guess. The light novel also gives a quick perspective of the sword god Garu Farion, or Galfarion, I think is what it is in English, or something close to that. This is Galane's teacher, and he'll show up in the anime a little later on. He notices that there's commotion happening over by Azura and just decides to ignore it. While all of this is happening, we see Rudy, Eris, and Galane out in the plains so that Rudy can show off using his new staff, which is why I think this is pretty soon after the party. Now, the moment you've been waiting for, Rudius Greyrat's mightiest spell. As he's reciting the incantation, the sky changes, but something strange is happening. What's that? Is it your spell? No, that's not me. What incredible mana. This is a demon eye, according to the light novel, and we'll learn more about those later. Get down! Rudy ducks as something flies over his head. Galane dashes forward and intercepts the attacker. Both move faster than Rudy can keep up with. After matching a few swings, they finally stop long enough to talk. Who are you? I am Almonfi the Radiant. By order of Lord Pergius, I have come to slay the source of the disturbance. He is also called Almonfi the Bright, and the titles are close enough, I'm sure it doesn't really matter. Rudy recognizes the name, and he lets Galane know that this is one of Pergius's familiars, and that he can move at the speed of light. Rudius, take Lady Eris and fall back. Step aside, woman. If I slay that boy, the disturbance may cease. I am Sword King Galane de Doldia. We have nothing to do with that. Sword King? How can I believe that? Show me proof. This is one of the famous blades of the 7 original sword gods, Hiramune, Flatcore. Will you still not believe after seeing it? This is one of Falion's swords, and he only gives those out to his students who have reached king rank. So this is actually pretty good proof that she is a king rank swordsman. And it's only in the light novel. Well, I mean, she does hold up the sword and show it so that he can see what it is, but she doesn't explain it like she does in the light novel. Swear it on the name of your master and your household. I swear on my master, the sword god, Galfarion, and the honor of the Dedolia people. Very well. If what you say is false, Lord Pergius will judge you later. The man suddenly disappears. Please wait, tell us what. Rudy notices too late. The mass amount of mana in the sky activates, and a beam of light fires down to the earth. The beam expands and engulfs everything. Ghislaine doesn't have time to get back to Rudy and Eris. Rudy starts to move, but sees that Eris is paralyzed by fear. Instead of futilely trying to escape, Rudy holds on to Eris as they're swallowed by the light. That is the end of this arc. Rudius is dead. I'm kidding, this isn't fucking ReZero. This calamity has a few different names, but I think one sums it up pretty well. The mass teleportation event. Everyone and everything within the blast radius, within the light, got teleported to a random spot in the world. It seems that people that are touching end up going to the same place. So Rudy and Eris end up together whenever they teleport. This event completely fucked the Vatoa region, and it's the first major turning point in Rudy's life. He was about halfway through his contract, or maybe even a little bit over. He was 7 when he got there, and he's 10 now, so he had 2-ish years, maybe 2.5 at most, left on his contract. But now he is in some random place, and we have no idea when he will get back, or even if he will get back. But I guess we'll see in the next arc. That's it for now. See ya. Coming in here while I've been editing, I noticed that I have been making a mistake here. It is not Pergius, it should be Perugius. Now, I thought about going in and just updating the text, which I did update the text on here, as you can see. I thought about going in and just changing the clip so that it would be correct. But then I remembered that I've been fucking up this name for the entire time. So instead of me just replacing it and ignoring the mistake that I've been making, I'm going to add this part in so that there is some connection back. This is the same guy who is in the book that Rudy read when he was little, read in this arc. He's the guy in the floating castle. This is the exact same guy. I have just been fucking up his name. It is Perugius, and that is what I'm going to use from now on, just so we're all on the same page.